We're taking a look now at what we have as DESMOS and some of the things that we can do with it. So this is a graph. It's an XY coordinate. This is our X axis right here. This is our Y axis, and you'll notice the numbers that are already on there. And then we have some other graph lines that go along with the graph. There is a couple things that we can do about this. We can zoom out quite a ways, which is really nice. So if we need to see really big numbers, you'll notice that the big numbers on the graph are the numbers on the graph are changing. We have big numbers now. There's 500 instead of 1. There's 1,000 instead of 2. So we're getting really big numbers, and we can keep on going way out and zooming out as far as you want. And we'll start to get things in scientific notation as well. Right about there we go. There we go. We got scientific notation, and so we're really far out. So that's one thing that's really nice about this program. Now on the right hand side, you'll notice there's a little default zoom. If you click on that, it goes right back to kind of a bit of a smaller graph, and so we can see it in a better aspect there. You can also zoom in really far and get really small numbers. So here we're getting our decimals. Looks like we're kind of cruising in, maybe a little Star Wars type scene. And so we're getting decimals, and you'll notice once we get a little farther, and I'm just scrolling, we get to scientific notation again. Really, really, really small numbers that we can find as well and get perfect values there. Go back to home, and we see what we have here. Now you can either scroll with your mouse, or there is a little plus and negative right here, which can help you go in, go out, in whatever case that you want. On the right hand side as well, we have graph settings, and if you click on graph settings, there's a couple things that you can see. There's a couple different settings that we can go in there. I tend to leave my stuff in pretty much the same. We can do a circle grid. We'll never really use that. I always use the regular grid. You can put arrows on there as well if you would like. You can have different types of arrows, or you can have just like the positive arrows. You can have all the arrows, which is really nice for when you are printing off these screens. I won't be having you do that a whole lot now in grade 11, actually really not at all, but it is something that you will be using in grade 12, as you're going to have to print off graphs and demonstrate what graphs you're using. We can also in here add different things to our X and Y axis. Something we can add is a title. So let's say that our X axis, we're using a contextual problem, and let's say that it has to deal with time. So we can write in time, and we're going to do in brackets, that's going to be seconds. And I'm just going to close this for a second, and you'll notice here now on our x-axis it says time in seconds. So now we know that our x value is time and it's in seconds, and let's say that our y is distance, and we're going to call that meters. You'll notice that down here it becomes distance in meters. Now I'm also going to go through different graphs later on that kind of demonstrate how to elaborate on different pieces, but another thing that we can do is we can create certain dimensions of our x and our y, so we can make them like really big or really small, and we can stretch them or compact them in a couple different ways. So let's say on the x-axis we only want to show from 0 up until 200. So now I'm just going to exit. So now on here we can see from 0 up to 200. Okay, that's the only x values that we can see. We're going to talk a little later about kind of range and domain and how that comes into effect as well. But for this would just be to affect our domain. Okay, what x values can we see? We can do the same thing on y. Even once we do this, we can still pull it around a little bit, and we can move around and see all the numbers as well. So that's just a way of manipulating them in what you can see. 0 is right there, and we're going to be going through how to type in equations and how to use this shortly. It'll be in the next video.